Good morning, everybody. I don't do mornings as probably as many of you do, so it's okay to be tired and probably not listen to everything I do say, but it's all right. Came here last year, did this exact same talk. I've revamped this beautiful PowerPoint presentation. I've got a few films that I want to show you snippets of from my early days in college. Even before that, some stuff where I thought I was making Hollywood, and then you realise going, crikey, no, I wasn't making Hollywood, just messing around. But I'm going to tell you sort of where I started out from, what I've been doing myself since the early 2000s, and where I went through college, university, coming out the other end going, what am I doing with myself now with this university degree? And going into, obviously doing what I love doing is film and video. So making some businesses, starting out as, you know, just me and a mate doing some random jobs for bands, local bands and stuff like that, and then finding our feet. Obviously I did 3 years of film and video, which meant I did nothing on business. So starting a business was like, what am I doing? I don't know how to go about, you know, finances, taxes. Am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? What's legal? What isn't? So finding my feet from college, 2004 to 2006, I did 2 college courses. It was about 2004 when I had like a bit of a midlife issue and I was like, what am I doing myself? That was in my mid-20s as well. So I finished school in 1998. And did all sorts of stuff from like leisure and tourism. I worked in Spain as a travel rep. I worked in bars, I worked in cinemas, I did all sorts of random stuff. But it wasn't until 2004 I was thinking, what am I doing myself? What do I like doing? I like drawing, I like art, I like doing stuff like that. So I went to college and I started looking at one of the things I really was passionate about was concept art and stuff like storyboard design in films. You know, I'm a big film fan, so I thought to myself, I wonder if I can get into that line of work. And I had a knack for it, and I thought, okay, maybe I can continue that work, go down the line, do something cool with that. And obviously, with the college stuff, it was all art-based. So I wanted to do film, so I was doing a lot of art-based films, you know, but I wanted to do Hollywood kind of stuff. And I was using kind of stuff like this, an old Mac, I can't even remember what generation that is. None of you might not remember that Mac, but I was doing everything on a camera like that, a Coolpix Nikon point and shoot thing. I didn't know anything about the cameras we're using nowadays. And you know, editing, I had no idea, so it was just a big learning curve. And I was making all sorts of weird and random stuff, a lot of art-based stuff. I'm going to show you a few clips. I'd like you to laugh at my expense, because I think nowadays you'll all probably look back at the stuff you were starting off in the earlier years and thinking you was making great stuff. And you probably was, but you was learning as well. But you look back at it, and I look back at my old stuff and go, what was I thinking? It was awful, and there's just some absolute awful stuff that I'm going to show you a few bits now. So I had no idea about exporting, frame rates, bit rates, what cameras to use. I had no idea. I was just playing around. This is the work of art of the old school like iMovie.
Just when you thought it was safe.
You see, exporting, I did something wrong because that's what it always does that.
The police.
Trained professional.
Then you need not call these guys.
It's almost over.
The G Police. Read it off.
Anyway. So that's some of the crap I was making back in college days. And I did 2 years in, after the first year I went and did the foundation, which is like the pre-degree. And again, it was all based on making, what I wanted to do was films, because they said, what do you want to do? I said, well, I wouldn't mind working in the film industry. I want to do Hollywood stuff. I don't know, whatever it might be. So all the projects we did, we had a project brief, and then I basically had to make that around a film. So again, it was all art-based. We made so much weird and wonderful stuff. And after finishing those 2 years, I was like, well, what do I want to do? And they said, well, you can go to university, apply to a few universities. I looked at Sheffield, I looked at Derby, a few other places, and I ended up going to Derby. Reason is because I lived in Nottingham, so I thought I can commute. I thought, no problem. I can save myself some money, still live with the parents, and commute, no problem. But then I had a friend of mine, and he said to me, Brett, if you don't go and spend your first couple of years at uni either in halls or living in a house, shared house or something, you'll miss out on all the fun. And I'm so glad I took his advice. The first year of uni was incredible. I don't think I did any work. Well, we tried, but it was almost, you know this score. But moving on to university, again, the course was a bit hit and miss to start with. The module changed halfway through the actual, through the 3 years. So it went from sort of a film art-based course to film and video. Where we was doing more a lot art-based sort of work. A lot of us wanted to do more Hollywood, kind of more narrative-based films. But we had the opportunity to make all sorts of stuff. I made a zombie survival guide movie. I'll show you a trailer for that. Again, the technology changed, so the cameras changed, everything else. I did a music video, which was pretty cool. Managed to get one of the studios there. We had a track and dolly and all sorts of cool stuff. That was pretty ace. That's what got me into doing more music videos further into my career. Again, I still continued with the storyboards and stuff. I enjoyed doing that. Getting more into visual effects. I love visual effects driven films. I love that stuff. I love After Effects. I'm crap at doing it myself. I'm getting there, but that's one of the things I wanted to get into. Yeah, like I say, the technology changed. So from these old XLR cameras, DV tapes, HDVD, moving on to stuff like Premiere Pro. Through university, was using all Mac-based software, so Final Cut Pro, Final Cut Pro, which I didn't really take too much to. I prefer the Adobe software nowadays. So I'll quickly show you some random stuff through the university days. Again, it was all just me thinking, what can I do? I'm going to make some cool stuff, but it ended up being a bit crap. I'll show you this zombie trailer. Again, look at 4:3. It's embarrassing. I had no idea what I was doing. A Metal Productions is what I sort of named myself. You know, you've all probably had a company name and gone, I want to make it like that. Oh, it's terrible. We made gallons of this fake blood as well. It's incredible. Anyway, I graduated with a 2-1. That did me. I have dyslexia, so that was a problem for me going through university and college, with especially the writing of dissertations. You know, any written work was really difficult for me. But where I capitalised for me, I think, was the kind of creative stuff, and that's what I enjoyed doing. And after I graduated in 2009, I stayed in Derby, moved in with a friend, and we thought to ourselves, well, what are we going to do with ourselves? We need to obviously use our skills, our degree somehow, and make a business or start making money. So we ended up with a few little bits and bobs. We started out doing a few music videos. We just went out to some pubs and local gigs and talked to the bands afterwards and says, yeah, we're a music video production company, which we kind of wasn't a company, it was just us two going, we want to make videos, so let's try it. Handed out some really crappy business cards that we had printed out at some printing machine in the high street or something. It was really crap. And we managed to get our name out there. You know, it was word of mouth, which was great. A band, you know, one band mates have gone, oh, these guys have done a video. Let's get these guys to do it. Okay, cool, we'll do it for like 150 quid. I don't know what to charge. It was really just like, yeah, let's make some money. Not a lot of money, but we tried. We had, obviously we tried to get a website going. I was working so many different part-time, that's me at the Travel Lodge there, selling the big breakfast at only $7.50, all you can eat every morning. It's great. So part-time jobs was one of the hardest things because we had to obviously live, so we had to have these part-time jobs, then eventually do something with what we was earning, not a lot, from all these other little film jobs. One of the good things about that was being your own boss, and obviously we didn't really have a lot to answer to but ourselves if anything went wrong at the end of the day. But it was tough, it wasn't easy. 2010 is when the recession hit, so we had to find other jobs because we was only getting like 14, 16 hours a week. So it became tough to try and make it work for us. We had to eventually split up what we was doing because we just didn't have enough money, so we had to move back home. So I moved back home to Nottingham with the folks. My mate Danny had to move back up north to Grimsby. So I was like, well, what am I doing with myself? I still want to do this film stuff, so let's move forward. What is next on there? So I ended up thinking to myself, right, let's just find some more work. How am I going to advertise myself? How am I going to promote myself? What am I going to do? Social media became a lot more apparent for me, so Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everything else that comes along with that. And it all changed, and I started a small business with another friend of mine who was a cameraman in a music video we did. And he says, I like working with you that time, can we do something together? So we ended up doing a lot more stuff. And then we started up a business called Jet Productions. That ran for about 2.5 years, 3 years, with both me and Jason running that. Until we had to part ways. Some people like going, I love the way you describe it, it's like a divorce. You kept the house and he had the kids or something like that. But we had to split the business, creative differences and all that stuff. But as time went on, and I saw a massive change in technology, and it was all about, for me, teaching myself, because I didn't really use Premiere. We was never taught on that in university. It was all Final Cut Pro. So a lot of you might go out there nowadays and find a lot of cool things online. And YouTube nowadays, you can find tutorials and all sorts to teach you how to use this software and equipment. And you know, back then when I didn't know how to use it and I didn't have the money to buy the proper equipment, you'd all download it and find it from wherever and just, you know, have the pirated copies and stuff. But one of the great things with what I've been doing myself over the last sort of 8 years is I now have the money to make sure that I've got the real equipment and I've got the proper software. And that was only from just building up the business. Again, we weren't using DSLRs at college or university, so picking up a 70 or a 60 or anything else like that, it was again self-teaching. It was a lot of finding out what works for yourself, you know, earning the money and finding what works to actually buy this equipment, you know, borrowing it off mates who have it, and just moving forward like that, from everything from cranes and all sorts of stuff, Steadicams, again with anything from recording equipment to lights. And especially the technology, because like I say, I like using After Effects. So for me, I had to learn how PCs work. I'm not a Mac person, I'm a PC. And I love gaming as well. So for me, I was like, well, let's start making some PCs. So I started looking at PCs, how they work, how to build them. And now it's kind of good that in-house for me, I can work on my own stuff and I can build our own PCs and make them to spec specific of what we need them for. So you have to move with technology. You know, from where you guys were a couple of years ago or where I was, it changes an awful lot. So you've got to adapt. You've got to be ready for change. Again, with software, Video Copilot, Red Giant, all these social media networks, you find what works, and we have to, you know, you have to use a lot of this to promote yourselves, especially the social media. Everybody's active nowadays on social media. Everybody's on the phone. It's a lot more video based nowadays. And it's just crazy how much social media in the last 10 years has blown up. So using that to your advantage of advertising yourself or finding the work is definitely the way forward. Networking's another thing that I had to do as well. And I'm not one for standing up and giving talks like this or, you know, meeting new people. It can be difficult for some people, but networking was a big thing. You find that, for me, that the more people you meet, you might go to the first networking event and then you start talking to people and you make a few connections, and then down the line they'll call you up and go, I've got somebody who wanted a video, can you get in touch? And a lot of our work nowadays is referrals, which is the best thing because I don't have to spend a damn penny on marketing, which is great. But we kind of have to market anyway, but it's great that you build up the relationships in your networking groups, wherever it may be, and you can move forward and people get ready. And you obviously, it must be a good thing that people go, Brett's a good guy, he does videos, it's always good quality, get in touch with him. So use that to your advantage, social media, networking as well. But a lot of the ones I do are local based to Derby or the East Midlands, where you might get more than a dozen or so people going every time, but it's great, you make the connections and the business eventually comes to you. So it's all about learning what you don't know, but what you love. What do I love doing? I love playing with visual effects. I love having a go and seeing what works. I say to clients, I say, how about this? Let's throw some visual effects in there, or let's put text in a scene where it looks really cool, motion graphics and all sorts of cool stuff. We do a lot of corporate work. We do stuff from hot tubs, companies that deal with fleet management. My mind boggles at the amount of stuff. But what I try and do nowadays is every Wednesday, we take an afternoon out of our time to do what we want. So I sit there for an afternoon just playing with visual effects because I'm being so dug in with all the work that we're trying to do to earn money, you forget what you're doing it for. So never stop learning, okay? There's always something that you can try and learn. Never stop thinking, oh, I'm getting bored of this now, or I want to do something different. Well, then try it. Take your time out and find that time to do what you love doing. Whether it's writing, whether it's playing on After Effects or editing, sound work, getting a camera, going outside, filming some stuff for half an hour and doing it. Because then you think to yourself, actually, yeah, I enjoy what I do, so let's continue doing that. So for me, I was saying before that I've spent 3 years doing film and video and not business. These are the business cards. I mean, look at that top left one, Metal Productions, Digital Film Acquisitioning. What the hell does that mean? I don't know what I was writing. Then it went to Brett Metal Films. Yeah, great digital music video productions, fantastic stuff. Jet Productions, like I said, that's the first business I started. That's still running now. We had these cool business cards made. They were like this big. It was like, let's do something different with the circles. Nowadays, you go to these networking events where you hand out business cards, and it's just like, they get put in your back pocket nowadays. But, you know, you still got these, and this is our latest business cards, AVP. This is what we do. This is our stuff now. The reason we've got two different logos there is the blue represents the corporate, the red represents all the music video stuff we do. So learning about business was really difficult because I didn't know about business. I had to learn the hard way. So what did I have to look at and what did I have to think about? I've come a long way from being self-employed to now owning a limited company, well, almost a second limited company, because I've been doing weddings for the last 5 years as well, freelancing for another company. So what I thought to myself is telling you guys, or looking at this and thinking to anybody else, if I have to tell them about what have you got to think about a business, kind of these points here. Financial fitness, do you have the money to do what you want to do? And how do you find that money? So it's gradually building it up from nothing. And the thing is there financial fitness, you've got to make sure you've got the money to do what you want to do. But again, it's building that from the bottom. And that goes along with the other thing on here, which is money management. And I was thinking to myself, I didn't have an accountant to start with. So I was going online and trying to do my tax returns and wondering what was going on, and it was just going terribly, terribly wrong. So I'd advise anybody, if you can, find some system online or somebody who can do your accounts. It makes your job a hell of a lot easier. It really does. Knowing your product, what you're going to sell, what do you want to do? So for me, it was like, how do you advertise yourself? What are we? Video acquisitions, video marketing, commercial video marketing? Basically, pick one thing that you're good at and stick with it and go for it. Because if you start doing a bit of everything, people will think, oh, they do everything, but they don't do the specific thing you want to do. And I learned that from business as well, because we went out there to clients going, we can do everything video-wise, and we can do this and this and this and this, and we can do your marketing for it, so we'll stick it on YouTube, we'll do your SEO that makes this, that work in Google. And then people are going, we don't want that, we just want a video. Can you just do us a video? Oh, okay. And it put people off. So it's like, just make sure you streamline, you know what you're doing. Knowing your key market as well. Advertising and marketing, again, we've done a lot of our advertising and marketing over the last 2 years. It's 2.5 years now AVP's been going. I've spent probably like $2,000 on a website. Advertising and marketing, you know, the good thing, like I was saying earlier, is we have a lot of referrals, which is cool. That works for us. Your business infrastructure, so who's the boss? Where does the pecking order go, and how do you... I've got somebody who works for me now. She's been with me for 2 years, and it's really difficult for me to think, how do I manage her? How do I manage these people? To me, it's like just a mate working with you on your business. Oh, can you do this for me? Yeah, it's like a glorified PA. She's come a long way in 2 years. And again, it's about knowing, because I know all sorts of different people in the business who are business management consultants, and I've spoke to them, and I've got a book and read it and gone, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, mate, how you doing here? Just do something. And there's a lot of things here: client management, staff management, equipment. You know, we've built the equipment up, working hours and time management. That's a big thing. Time management is insane. Because if I think to myself, if I don't do the work, who's going to do it for me? Last night I was at the office till 10 o'clock. Okay, granted I was working on this, but most of the time I try and, you've got to think about time management and how does that work? What can you make work? So, starting it early in the morning and finishing a bit later. Keeping to those strict hours, because you will find yourself going, crap, so I'm working till midnight or working till 1 in the morning, whenever, and what am I doing with this? And you won't, I don't sleep sometimes because I'm thinking about work. I'm going, what am I going to do? Oh, this, that, and the other. So it's about action planning as well. Just bullet point everything every day, or the night before, go, what am I going to do next day, and do it. Learning and development is another thing. That's a key issue. Never stop learning. Definitely never stop learning what you love doing, because you've got to develop. Technology changes. There's so many different film companies out there that we compete with, and you think, am I doing the best? Can I be doing what they're doing? Have I got the money to do that? They're all filming in 4 or 8K, something stupid, and they're using this, and it's like, wow, cool. We used to have a studio, but we don't have one now. We just got an office, so we do all our work on site with our clients. And it's just developing your business and your skills. Complaints as well. I had to learn the hard way. I have made mistakes, and if you do make mistakes, be honest with whoever you're dealing with, because if you're not honest, it's just gonna all build up and it's gonna explode in your face. You're gonna get a bad rep. Learn from your mistakes as well. One of the hardest things about learning from your mistakes, especially with weddings, is the wedding day happens once. So you can't get that wrong. When you're filming, when you're doing the audio, there's been some times when I have got it wrong and I've been, how am I gonna get out of this? I've managed to work around it. So complaints is the thing, learning from your mistakes, moving forward. Now it's not been easy for the last 2 years since AVP's been going, even with Jet Productions. We were still working part-time jobs. So at the end of the day, it's about, I think, knowing what you want to do, finding what you want to do, finding a little niche for that. Even if you want to work with other people, that's great, do it. But obviously at the end of the day, we're all here to make a bit of money along the way. But if you're making it and doing what you love doing, bonus. I love what I do and I'm making money out of it. I'm making money out of my hobby. This is cool. So what have I created? From Jet Production to everything, I've worked all over the world. It's been great. I've had some wicked clients, some massive companies. I've worked on airports and all sorts of places. I've been to Germany. That was a cool one. That band, Crimes of Passion, or Cop UK now, they wanted me to do a video for them of their tour around Germany. And that was an insane amount of, like, 4 days away on their tour bus. And this is how diverse it is. I was in 4 days around Germany, and then I got back in England and I was filming the baton twirling championships at the Ice Arena in Nottingham. From heavy metal music to all this fancy stuff. It's madness. And that's Bex, who works for me there in the top, and she's come a long way in 2 years. And it's not, because I got to the point with AVP where I had so much work, I was like, I need help. And I remember she put a Facebook thing up one day saying, I'm really bored of my job, can somebody help? And I was like, I need an assistant, can you help? And initially I drafted her in just to help with organising my life, and I'm not very good at organising stuff. So she came and did that, it was great. And then I got her on the learning of cameras and editing. And now she does a lot of editing for me, she does the work, we do weddings together. And one of the things I've just started up is Forever After. I thought I'm sick and tired of working for other wedding companies and freelancing for them, and I'm only seeing half the money. So I was like, well, I think I'm good at what I do with weddings. We don't do the standard wedding stuff. We turn it into a film. It's about their day, from start to finish. Not making the boring, not Uncle Bob on a camera just sat there or standing there and making some really odd comments about the bridesmaids or something. But we want to make something really cool, and it's a passion of mine to make cinema, to make what I wanted to do in the first place, and I can do that with this. So we started up Forever After. The website launches on Monday, and we've been gradually building, a good foundation for that. And most of the weddings we've done as Forever After, all of these guys, their mates were either their bridesmaids or their other mates, and they've always gone, oh, can we have you guys doing our video next? So we've got like a nice, and it's that referral system. It's powerful and it works. One of the other things I put on here is this, my car. Because since I've been driving, since 1998 or something like that, I've had bangers. I've had like runarounds, just like 1.1 nothing. All my life just trying to get through. My last car was a Rover 45. That thing was about 15 years old. And it died on me it died on me this year on my first wedding of the season. On the way to it, I was like, shit, and I managed to get it on the end. And I thought to myself, what am I doing? But my business, growing it, has allowed me to get a brand new car. And it's great because I've earned the money to afford these kind of things. And we've got an office in Derby. I want to get a studio again because that was really cool. But I've grown the business from the ground up and we've done all sorts of stuff and we just keep going and going. And I've worked with some famous people. Warwick Davis, I did this really cool video with him. That was ace one time. Richard Shaw from Cradle of Filth. We did some playthrough videos with him. Saxon there when they've done all sorts of stuff. So it's allowed me to kind of almost live a dream and make money out of it as well. So I want to round up and go big or go home. Schwarzenegger there. I love his 6 motivational key points here. And I've got these on a whiteboard at work. And I look at these all the time. If you go online, just look for Schwarzenegger's 6 rules of motivation or his 6 rules to success. And I love these because it's so true of what he says. There's a short version and a long version, but every time I read these, I always hear Schwarzenegger's voice like, trust yourself, break some rules, not the law. But, and these, I always look at these every day and think to myself, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Trust yourself. You've got to trust yourself because if you don't trust yourself, you're not going to make it. I'm not going to go into them all because Schwarzenegger does it better in his accent, of course. Break some rules, not the law. Don't be afraid to fail. Ignore the naysayers. That's a really good one, what he talks about. Work like hell. He talks about people wanting to sleep for 8 hours and he sleeps for 6. And he's like, well, for people who sleep 8 hours, just sleep faster. There's loads of hours in the day to do what you need to do. Give something back. So giving something back for me, what I've done over the last 5 years is a talk like this, or we've had interns over the last couple of years. We have students coming in from Derby College as well. I'm doing another talk at the King Edward's College next month. So, and it's about helping out, for me, the roots. So a lot of places in Derby, I know a lot of people, and we'll work in circles. So I know other photographers and other services and stuff that I'll give their name out to other people. And it's about giving something back as well. So it just makes things run a hell of a lot easier. But have a look for Schwarzenegger's 6 rules of success. Again, I always bring it back to do what you love. Being a geek is about being honest about what you enjoy and not being afraid to demonstrate that affection. It means never having to play it cool about how much you like something. It's basically a license to proudly emote on a somewhat childish level rather than behave like a supposed adult. Being a geek is extremely liberating. And it's true, I am a big geek when it comes to games, films, all sorts of stuff. I've got a big alien sleeve tattoo up here. And it's just like, I love comic books and all sorts of stuff. And it's always about being true to yourself. Anyway, I think that's about my time. That's me done. Thanks for listening.